The British Rail Class 08 is a class of diesel-electric shunting locomotive. The design was introduced in 1952. However, it did not enter service until 1953. Produced until 1962, a grand total of 996 locomotives were made, resulting in the 08 being the most numerous of all British Rail locomotive classes. As the standard BR general purpose shunter, almost any duty requiring shunting would involve an 08. Due to this, the class became a very familiar sight at many major stations and yards. The Class 08 design was based on the LMS 12033 series design. Two variants of the Class 08 was the near-identical but higher-geared Class 09, of which there were 26, as well as the Class 10s. These 171 locomotives were fitted with different engines and transmissions. Between 1952 and 1962, the class was built at the BR Works at Crewe, Darlington, Doncaster, and Horwich. Some of the class required a modification in which they were reduced in height for use on the Buryport and Gwendraith Valley Railway in southwest Wales. The resulting shorter locomotives were dubbed as Class 08/9. The majority of the class left with the original height, dubbed Class 08/0. 6 Class 08 units were adapted for a specialist role at Tynesley Marshalling Yard. The adaptation was born of a necessity for more powerful shunters. Solution? Permanently couple two 08s together in pairs as a master and slave, or cow and calf, with the latter having its cab removed. The resulting engine was henceforth dubbed the British Rail Class 13. Unfortunately, all three of the classes that were made have been scrapped. Unfortunately, the nature of British rail traffic has changed considerably over the years since the 08's introduction. With freight trains mostly fixed rakes of wagons and passenger trains mostly consisting of multiple units, neither of which require the attention of a shunter, a large portion of the class has been withdrawn from mainline use and were either stored, scrapped, exported, or sold. The first 08 to be withdrawn from service was D3193 in 1967, and withdrawals continued in subsequent decades until the beginning of the 90s, which saw most of the class taken out of service. During the time of the withdrawals, however, many were purchased by Heritage Railways. When British Rail was privatized and sold, EWS inherited most of the class. Though some of the 08s were stored in case of an increase in traffic, many more locomotives were sent to EWS's Component Recovery and Distribution Center in Wingen for stripping of reusable components prior to scrapping. To this day, around 100 of the 996 08s in Britain survive, working on industrial sidings on the main network or on heritage railways, where they have become a common sight with over 60 preserved. Anyone who calls themselves a Thomas the Tank Engine fan should recognize this particular design. That's right, it's Devious Diesel himself. Luckily enough, with the game model, we don't have to listen to his snide remarks as he's put to work. Taking a look at this cab, we can see just how effective simple controls work with a shunter. Next up, the horn, if you can even call it that, since to me it sounds like an old PC modem booting up or something to that extent. When it comes to this engine and top speed, we really don't need to push it far to hit it, considering that the dial itself won't go past 20. If you're looking for an effective shunter that will never let you down in the yard, you needn't look further.